The Power of Now, a journey to freedom from the fear of the future. Welcome to this inner journey, an invitation to discover the essence of life beyond the worries and projections created by the mind. Inspired by the teachings of Eckhar Tolle, we will explore how the present is the only truly real moment and how, by anchoring our attention to it, we can free ourselves from the fear and anxiety that arise when anticipating an uncertain future. For a long time, the human mind has had a tendency to project itself into tomorrow, creating stories and scenarios that, in reality, never materialize. These thoughts about the future, filled with fear and anxiety, act as veils that prevent us from experiencing the fullness of the now. Tolle teaches us that most of our suffering originates from identifying with mental projections, the what if, the should be, and the I need to be. Instead of living in the present, we get lost in endless possibilities, and in doing so, we distance ourselves from the true source of peace that resides in the here and now. The mind, though a powerful tool for imagining and planning, becomes a trap when it obsesses over the future. By anticipating problems or fears, we create in our mind scenarios of suffering that do not exist in reality. This projection is nothing more than an illusion, a construct of the ego that pulls us away from our true essence. When we begin to observe our thoughts without judgment, we discover that they are simply phenomena that come and go, and they do not define who we truly are. One of the keys to freeing ourselves from this anguish is learning to observe our thoughts with detachment. Imagine for a moment that each thought is like a passing cloud in the sky. They appear, transform, and dissipate without leaving a permanent trace. By recognizing that we are not our thoughts, but rather the silent witness observing them, we take the first step toward inner liberation. This practice of conscious observation allows us to distance ourselves from the narrative that the mind tries to impose on us and invites us to always return to the present, the only place where life truly happens. Conscious breathing is another valuable resource on this path. By focusing our attention on the act of breathing, on the gentle flow of air entering and leaving our lungs, we immediately connect with the present moment. Each inhalation is an opportunity to receive calm, and each exhalation allows us to release accumulated tensions and fears. Over time, this simple exercise becomes an anchor that holds us in the now, keeping us away from the whirlwind of worries generated by the mind. Accepting the present moment as it emerges as another fundamental pillar of this journey. Often, suffering increases when we resist reality, when we wish things were different from how they are at this moment. Acceptance, however, is not an act of resignation, but a profound recognition of reality. By accepting the present without trying to modify or control it, we open the door to lasting inner peace. This acceptance frees us from the constant struggle between what is and what we believe should be, allowing us to live with greater serenity and gratitude. The transformation of our relationship with time begins with the understanding that the future is, in essence, an illusion. By living in a state of anticipation, the mind pulls us into hypothetical scenarios that ultimately generate only anxiety and frustration. True security and peace are not found in predicting or controlling what is to come, but in fully surrendering to the present. By letting go of the need to know or control the future, we discover that life unfolds naturally and spontaneously, revealing its beauty and mystery in every moment. The ego, that inner voice that constantly tells us stories about the past and future, plays a crucial role in maintaining fear. The ego feeds on labels, judgments, and projections, clinging to a limited identity that keeps it in a constant state of searching and comparison. When we allow the ego to dictate our experience, we find ourselves trapped in an endless cycle of unfulfilled desires and unfounded fears. By becoming aware of this pattern, we can begin to dissolve the barriers the ego has built and rediscover our true identity, one that transcends the limitations of time and is rooted in the pure awareness of the now. Integrating mindfulness into daily life is an act of love and commitment to oneself. It is not about withdrawing from the world, but about engaging in each experience with total presence. From the simplest tasks like washing the dishes or taking a walk down the street to the most intense moments in our personal relationships, every act becomes an opportunity to live with full awareness. By paying attention to every detail, every sensation, and every emotion, we discover that life is filled with sacred moments that invite us to savor the present in all its richness. Meditation and mindfulness practices are powerful tools in this process. Meditation is not merely sitting in silence, but opening ourselves to the experience of the now without reservations or judgments. During meditation, we learn to recognize the fleeting nature of thoughts and allow them to flow without clinging to them. This practice helps us cultivate a calmer, less reactive mind, where inner peace becomes the natural response to life's turbulence. Another important aspect is our connection with nature. Spending time outdoors, gazing at the sky, feeling the breeze on our skin, and listening to the rustling of the trees reconnects us with a deeper and more authentic reality. Nature serves as a constant reminder that life unfolds in the now without rush or complications. In every corner of the natural world, we find lessons of patience, flow, and acceptance that inspire us to live more consciously and fully. Throughout this journey, it is common to encounter moments of resistance and difficulty. The mind, accustomed to being in constant activity, resists letting go of old habits of worry and anticipation. However, every challenge becomes an opportunity to deepen self-awareness and strengthen our connection with the present. With patience and practice, it is possible to transform anxiety into curiosity, fear into acceptance, and despair into a deep sense of peace. Personal experiences and the testimonies of those who have walked this path are valuable sources of inspiration. Many people have shared how, by learning to see thoughts as mere passing phenomena, has allowed many to free themselves from the burden of fearing the future. Stories of transformation, where the daily practice of presence has helped overcome moments of great stress and suffering, show us that it is possible to live differently, more connected and authentic. These narratives remind us that every step toward full awareness is a step toward a richer and more meaningful life. The practice of self-inquiry is another fundamental resource on this journey. Asking ourselves, who am I? Or am I this thought? Or am I the observer of my thoughts? Invites us to delve into the essence of our being. This inquiry helps us distinguish between the identity the ego has constructed and the true presence that resides within us. By exploring these questions, we discover that the source of our happiness and peace does not lie in accumulating external experiences, but in connecting with our essential being, which always remains unchanged and at peace. Inner transformation is not a destination, but a continuous journey. Each day offers us the opportunity to be reborn in the present, to leave behind old narratives, and to embrace life with a fresh perspective. The constant practice of mindfulness allows us to see that life renews itself in every moment, unfolding in unexpected ways. This path teaches us to trust the wisdom of the now and to recognize that, even though we cannot control the future, we always have the power to choose how we respond to each situation. Surrender, understood not as defeat but as a deep acceptance of what is, becomes a powerful ally on this journey. By surrendering to the experience of the present, we stop resisting the flow of life and learn to move with it. This surrender is not passivity, but a total openness to reality, where every experience is lived with authenticity and without resistance. Surrender frees us from the constant tension of trying to force the future, allowing us to live with a lightness that connects us to the very essence of being. In this context, positive affirmations and the repetition of mantras can serve as daily reminders to stay on the path of presence. Phrases like, I am here and now, peace is my natural state, or I accept this moment as it is, act as anchors, bringing us back, time and time again, to the experience of the now. By repeating these affirmations, we strengthen our connection to the truth that life is lived in this precise instant, and that every experience, no matter how fleeting, holds immense value. Integrating these teachings into all aspects of life, work, relationships, self-care, allows us to transform even the most mundane situations into rituals of connection and gratitude. In the workplace, for example, taking brief pauses to breathe and reconnect with the present can make the difference between a stressful day and one of mindful productivity. Similarly, in relationships, being fully present while listening to another person strengthens the bond and creates a space of genuine communication, free from judgments and expectations. As we progress on this path, moments of deep introspection naturally arise, bringing us face to face with the most subtle layers of our being. These moments may reveal past wounds, deeply rooted fears, and limiting beliefs that have contributed to our anxiety about the future. However, instead of avoiding them, the practice of living in the now invites us to face them with compassion and without judgment. By observing these experiences from the perspective of a silent witness, we allow them to dissolve on their own, transforming pain into wisdom and uncertainty into acceptance. Every experience, whether joyful or challenging, becomes an opportunity to deepen self-knowledge. Over time, we learn that there are no inherently good or bad experiences. They are simply manifestations of life's ever-changing flow. This understanding frees us from the urge to constantly control and evaluate every situation, allowing us to live more freely and authentically. Life, in its continuous unfolding, reveals itself as a dance in which every step, every breath, is an expression of the perfection of the present moment. The transformation that comes from living in the now not only impacts our inner world, but also the way we relate to the external world. By letting go of projections and expectations about the future, we open our hearts to the full experience of the present. This state of presence allows us to connect more deeply with the people around us, with nature, and with life in all its dimensions. We realize that by freeing ourselves from the tyranny of the mind, we uncover an innate ability to live with love, compassion, and gratitude. This new way of living translates into a tangible transformation in the quality of our relationships and in how we face daily challenges. Life, with all its uncertainties, becomes less intimidating when we learn to embrace it fully without the weight of fearing the future. Every obstacle becomes a teacher, every difficulty an invitation to deepen our connection with the present. And it is in this ongoing process of learning and acceptance that the true magic of existence lies. The journey to freedom from the fear of the future is ultimately one of self-discovery and continuous renewal. It is a process that invites us to release the burdens of the past and the uncertainties of tomorrow to fully live in the only time we truly have, the now. Each day is a new opportunity to awaken to reality, to feel the flow of life intensely, and to discover that, in every moment, there is an inexhaustible source of peace and wisdom. I invite you to take a few moments each morning to connect with yourself. Allow yourself to observe your thoughts without hurry, without being carried away by them, and always return to the rhythm of your breath. Make this act a sacred ritual that marks the beginning of a day lived with fullness and awareness. Over time, you will notice that anxiety fades, leaving in its place a deep sense of serenity and well-being. This inner transformation, though requiring practice and dedication, is accessible to everyone. No matter how busy or chaotic life may seem, there is always the possibility of finding a space of calm amidst the noise. By learning to recognize and honor this space, we give ourselves permission to live with a lightness that transcends external circumstances. It is in this state of presence that we discover that life, in its true essence, is a wonderful gift, full of possibilities and surprises. In conclusion, the path to freedom from the fear of the future is built upon awakening to the reality of the now. By ceasing to identify with the mind's projections and embracing the experience of the present, we open ourselves to a more authentic, fulfilling, and liberated existence. Inner peace, true security, and happiness are found in this state of presence, accessible in every moment and to each of us. May this message serve as a constant reminder that life is lived in the now, and that each instant, no matter how fleeting, is an open door to freedom and love. Allow yourself to let go of past burdens, release anxieties about the future, and fully embrace the miracle of existing in the present. In this sacred space, you will discover the fullness of your being, the peace you have always sought, and the certainty that every breath is a celebration of life. May the light of the now illuminate each of your steps, and may you recognize the beauty of living fully in the present in every encounter and experience. Transformation is possible, change is real, and inner peace is always within your reach. Live, feel, and be in the now, allowing each day to become a journey of discovery and gratitude toward true freedom.